All right, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack an absolute masterclass in emotional engineering. Seriously, what we're looking at today is a fascinating framework pulled from a staggering 6,000-page archive. We're talking journals, receipts, text messages, medical records, the whole shebang. It is an incredibly intimate, raw look at a chaotic mind navigating some deeply toxic environments. But here's the thing. Instead of getting lost in the drama of it all, we're going to dig into the underlying operating systems of human emotion and ultimately survival. Listen to this quote because it perfectly sets our radically objective tone for today. I didn't cause the chaos. I just organized it and charged admission. I love that. We aren't looking at some traditional sob story here or a plea for sympathy. Not at all. Instead, we're examining a clinical, heavily organized documentation of survival that actually prioritizes hard evidence and record-keeping over temporary, fleeting emotions. So, here's our system diagnostic menu, our roadmap for today. 1. The internal operating system. 2. Rain is not the storm. 3. The hidden cost architecture. And 4. Finding home through maintenance. Okay, let's jump straight into part 1. The internal operating system, and specifically, the witness framework. You know what's crazy? This entire framework actually started out as a childhood habit. Picture a second grader literally tracking playground gossip and selling her classmates' secrets for snack money. Wild, right? But over time, that evolved into a highly calibrated tool called the witness. Think of it as an internal recording function. It observes and logs reality, but it doesn't add a verdict, a defense, or a prosecution. It just keeps the record. The witness completely separates the raw facts of a situation from the messy act of assigning blame. And let me tell you, that is a massive tool for gaining clarity. Because, let's be honest, we all have a massive gap in how we tell our stories to survive. On one side, you've got what we call the clean story. This is the polite, totally socially acceptable narrative you'd casually drop at a dinner party. Something like, oh, we just had some communication issues. But hidden way down in the footnotes is the savage gloss, the brutal reality, where the truth was actually more like a surveillance state with good lighting. Two wildly different versions of the exact same event. And that brings us to a really powerful realization. As the source material points out, the gap is the data. Holding both of these versions open in your mind at the same time, the clean story and that savage gloss, is incredibly uncomfortable. Actually, scratch that. It's downright painful. But that gap, that space between what you tell people and what actually went down, that is the exact data you need to accurately audit your life. You literally can't fix your operating system if you're lying about the code.
All right, moving on to section 2. Rain is not the storm. We're talking weather versus behavior.
When you're dealing with the unpredictable physics of the mind, especially the heavy kinetic swings of something like bipolar II disorder, you absolutely have to separate the weather from your behavior. Think of rain as uncontrollable physical symptoms, things like sudden dread or deep sadness. The storm, on the other hand, is your optional behavior. That's panicking or, texting an ex at 2 a.m. You cannot negotiate with gravity or the weather, but you definitely can choose your behavior. The rain is inevitable, but building a completely destructive storm around it, that's a choice.
So how do we actually stop the storm? By running a truth inventory. This is brilliant. Taken straight from a journal during the March 2020 lockdowns, it cleanly separates facts, like, okay, there's a global pandemic and I don't have a car, from feelings like crushing dread and anxiety, and most importantly, it separates both of those from not facts. A not fact is that panicked doom spiral thought that everything is ruined forever. Using a structure like this prevents that incredibly common mistake of taking a temporary mood and promoting it into hard, undeniable evidence. So when you feel that emotional weather rolling in, you can run these exact 4 steps as a literal interrupt protocol to protect your stability. Step 1, name it. Call it rain, not destiny. Step 2, reduce input. Turn down the noise, put the phone away, stop scrolling. Step 3, protect one secret thing. Maybe that's your sleep or maybe it's your sobriety. And step 4, wait for the middle. The pendulum of your mood is always going to cross back through the center where the facts actually live, so just wait for it before you make any permanent decisions.
Let's pivot to section 3, the hidden cost architecture. Welcome to relationship economics. The archive makes it starkly, brutally clear that hypervigilance is not devotion. It's a severe tax that you pay in nervous system currency toward a debt that was never even yours to begin with. Just listen to this aphorism. Devotion without trust is endurance with better branding. Oof, that hits hard. Staying in a room and shrinking your own identity just to keep someone else's worldview stable,
That isn't love. It's highly managed labor. It's property management completely disguised as romance. And the way you expose that bad romance is by using a cost receipt card. By tracking your relationship dynamics on a literal ledger, you map a specific situation, like fighting until 3 a.m. just to appease a partner's jealousy, directly to a cost signature. You quickly realize you are paying with your own nervous system just to keep access to this person. It forces you to objectively look at the exact emotional price and the massive exit fees you're paying just to maintain a few hours of temporary peace.
Which brings us to an absolutely crucial point. Are you adjusting because this is love, or are you adjusting because this is labor? I really want you to ask yourself that question right now. Because the honest answer, it exposes whether you are building something real, or if you're just performing endless, exhausting maintenance on a totally broken system.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 4, Finding Home Through Maintenance. This is about redefining true peace. Get ready for a radical redefinition here. Home is not a zip code. It's not a physical building. And it's sure as heck not a romantic partner. According to this archive, home is a nervous system setting. It's an internal baseline where the facts stay exactly the same for 12 consecutive hours, nothing needs to be performed or faked, the pendulum finally stops swinging, and your nervous system just stops screaming. It's a boring Tuesday night where you are completely, undeniably safe.
So how do you know if you've actually found it? You run this diagnostic home test. Ask yourself these 3 questions. 1. Does it require constant narration or a big story to make it feel real? 2. Is it stable through ordinary day-to-day repetition? And 3. Does it feel like a performance? Because if it feels like you're putting on a show, it's not home. You're just taking a temporary, exhausting vacation from the chaos.
Nobody claps for the woman folding towels. I absolutely love this quote because it perfectly captures the fact that true stability is incredibly unglamorous. There is no standing ovation for taking your medication. There's no applause for paying your bills on time. And there's definitely no award ceremony for choosing not to send that destructive text message. The boredom is actually the weapon. Because true peace isn't some dramatic breakthrough speech you make on day one. It's a boring, repetitive maintenance log that simply proves you showed up again on a random Tuesday. It's the stuff that happens after the movie montage fades out. Just tracking the date, an ordinary action like doing your laundry or getting enough sleep, and the result, stable. Day after day.
If I disappear again, this is how I come back. Documenting all of this didn't magically cure the swinging pendulum of the mind. The rain still comes. It always will. But the archive provided the exact, fact-based protocols needed to survive the motion without burning your entire life down to the studs. It proved that the emergency is no longer the thing in charge.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on. Your peace requires structure, for sure, but whose comfort is paying for your silence? Take some time to audit your own mental operating system today. Ask yourself if your stability is authentic or if it's just a heavily managed performance keeping someone else comfortable. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep questioning the data of your own life.